welcome back to Faces of Truth. This is February the 4th, I believe. The day just after the State of the Union address. We hear political talk, people on both sides offering criticism, etc., and some compliments, etc. What we actually need to do, instead of patting each other on the back for victories, etc., is put our heads together and think of constitutional solutions to make some of the goals that we saw put forward come to pass. Constitutional, what I mean by constitutional is nothing that takes from me or you to give to someone else. Okay, last night we heard that our Commander-in-Chief wants to put his head together with the Congress and Senate to offer scholarship programs to young people. Now, this is the thing. If it's government paid for, it's coming out of your and my pocket. Let's go ahead and look at the poster child for the excuse me, the Democrat Socialist Society, Canada. In Canada, almost all of their paychecks are taken in taxes by the government. These taxes are used to pay for medical care, education, food, even, I hear that there's even you can get almost everything free because the government pays for it, but you don't get anything to live on. Interesting. Well, that's not a way to progress. That's a way to get everything you think will make you satisfied, I guess. Thing is, you can't, unless you get a government grant, you can't build a business. You can't work to get the resources to build your own business. The workforce is founded on people who will become the next generation of entrepreneurs. This is the only way that we get more jobs. The people that are presently in jobs graduate to where they become business owners themselves and provide the jobs. If we don't do it this way, our economies go under. That's what got us into the mess we're in right now. So, how do we do this constitutionally? Provide for the education of our children. What we do is business owners, under their own volition, set up savings accounts or CDs or whatever the heck they want to put the money in. And they put the money in it there, let it grow, and then they donate it to children or people desiring to go to the university to get them in there. Of course, obviously, You have to make certain, you have to meet certain criteria, but those criteria are meetable as well as providing the service that the industry needs after the person graduates from college. This is the constitutional way to go about it. The unconstitutional way to go about it is to say, okay, Alex, we're taking $100 a month out of you in order to pay for this college student's school. Thing is, when you do this, the government never likes to give back. I found that out the hard way. Of course, a number of other people haven't had my experience. They've had a totally perfect experience with the grant system. But the thing is, the grant system is based on some people getting screwed and other people getting the benefit. I was just one of the guys that got screwed in every way. Now, if we go back to our industries paying for the schools, backing the schools, and then paying for the educations out of their own free will and choice, then we get schools that progress, that actually institute curriculum that can benefit business. And the next generation of job workers / entrepreneurs, which everyone needs to think about building a business, because that's the only place we get new jobs, is by the existing workforce graduating into entrepreneurs. Then the education system is funded by industry, which produces workers, which can produce more industry. The more industry, the more competition. The more competition, the better the prices and the quality. Now we see an economy that is flourishing and healthy. Okay, now let's get into healthcare. Okay, why is healthcare the way it is? It's because government regulates it. Government has a hand in the pie directly. Now, we get government's hand out of the pie and perhaps get hospitals back into the church, as far as church financing is concerned. Then we find ourselves concerned about the lives of people, the betterment of society, etc. We find people concerned for getting rid of illnesses rather than just treating them until the person who contracted the illness dies and is embalmed and interred. Now let's see. If churches go back into funding hospitals rather than the government, according to most religions in the world, we are children of God. As children of God, we are meant to become, this is going to really grind on some people. We are meant to become as like him as we possibly can, which means extension of longevity, even to the point of at least one eternity. If that is if we can find the way to do it. And God has revealed several very, very good ways that we can control the bacteria population in our bodies of harmful bacteria to prevent our life support systems and our joints and our muscles and so forth from dying and becoming corrupted. They are not at present being used because the government prohibits the use within the United States. The Food and Drug Administration prohibits their use. One of these technologies is an energy technology that actually charges the blood so that nothing viral or bacterial that's detrimental to the body can survive in the blood. But the blood provides enough energy to the cells that they can repair. There's also another technology that combines 3 extremely healthy foods to do the same job. Now, you got a technology and you got a dietary supplement. I prefer the dietary supplement. I wouldn't mind using the technology. Now, the thing is, because they are not accepted within the political structure of medicine, aka the government won't let them be used for treatment, and these treatments are not treatments, they're cures. They've been used to great effect outside of the country. They are not. We see a rise in heart disease, mental disease, and in cancers. HIV is a cancer. Lymph cancer, lymphatic cancers, prostate cancers, lung cancers, etc., etc. Now, if we were allowed to use these very simple systems, the technology can be put together for $1.50 USD, and then put to use immediately, charging the blood to make sure that everything throughout the body has enough energy to rebuild the cellular systems inside the body, and that everything can rebuild without being torn apart once again by bacteria or virus. And the dietary supplement, which is just a simple combination of cottage cheese, flaxseed oil, and honey. Honey, the most potent antibiotic out there. No biological vector has been able to overcome it, except maybe botulism. Botulism spreads in honey sometimes, raw honey. Cottage cheese for protein, and then you've got omegas and hyaluronic acid in your flaxseed oil. This has to be. And this reverses the process of the degradation that we receive by the, or that we are put through by the detrimental decomposers that are allowed to flourish in our bodies under this present medical system, which is basically all about cutting, burning, and poisoning the crap out of systems that are being built in the body to try and funnel enough energy to places that are being decomposed at rates that our bodies cannot uphold. These pipelines and electrical lines that the body's running are called tumors. The reason they're running these tumors to these sites of decomposition is because they need it. We are deficient in nutrients, water, and energy as a population. We don't get what we need in our foods. We really do need to consider, each and every one of us, putting in our own garden, spending a little time with it, etc. It's only in this way that we will get the nutrients we need to rebuild, when we use systems that already exist to kill off, should I say, control the population of decomposers in our system. When somebody dies, you see an acceleration of what's already happening inside them. These decomposers are what you need to control in order to keep people from falling apart. Now, given this is mortality, but how long do you want to last, and how functional do you want to be when you finally do decide to shake off the mortal coil and advance to the next level? Also, do you want to replace everything in your body with something mechanical, which is so much less efficient than what you already have? Our bodies can adapt to situations. Technology has not yet found a way to do that. Once you build it, it stays in the condition that it's already in. When you have organic systems, they can evolve to to the situation they're put in. You want more strength, you go to the gym, you pump more, you lift more weight, etc. This is an adaptive technology. Whereas hydraulics and so forth, once you get it built, that's the way it stays. It may be powerful, but it's where you stay. There are a few people out there surmising our future is going to be a blending of organic and mechanic. Thing is, mechanical systems don't grow, don't evolve. Once they're designed and they're built, that's where they stay. There are some people who have lost a limb, etc. They could use good prosthetics. Good ones. Okay. Now let's address the energy industry. He talked about forming new energy jobs and how we are we are finally energy independent with the pipeline going in through Canada, I think it is. Back in the 70s, we had a pipeline from, Alaska. Well, they shut that down because, well, they shut down the civilian market for it because they wanted to wage unlimited war on the Middle East. And that was considered our military reserve. Constant military exercises in the Middle East are just what they do, politicians do, to break us, the citizen, we the people. Our reserves across the United States are vast. We have loads of solar exposure. We have wind. We have fuels. But we aren't allowed to use them. Let me show you something. Throughout the United States recently, there's been an attempt by local governments to prohibit the use of personally acquired equipment for generating electricity. This is the politicians saying, oh, you want to be free? Well, we don't want you to be free. We want you to use someone else's commodity that we are financing with your taxpayer dollar. And the fact is, the price is going up. Why? Because the state is propping up a monopoly through subsidy. All right, so now we know that the state is working with these utilities to make sure we never go off of them. It is entirely illegal to get your own renewable energy system that is totally free from the utility. Why? Their excuse is the utility employs a lot of the local population. They need linemen. They need people for the offices to receive the bills, etc., etc. Also, they're planning on putting in new solar, new wind, new nuclear. And that raises the bill, allegedly. Okay, so let's take a look at the field of energy generation, personal energy generation. Nowadays, it is dirt cheap to build your own panels. You can prune back your trees to the point that your house can literally be a generator for you, if you want. You can also choose a very small footprint part of your yard that does have good solar exposure and build a system that MIT developed, which is basically a zigzag array of solar panels that uses the solar panels facing the sun as mirrors to reflect light into the solar panels facing down. It doubles the amount of energy generated by a single solar array attached to a roof, on top of the fact that you can put a vertical axis wind turbine on top of that assembly and have it generating energy when you don't have any sunlight. On top of the fact that there are systems that were designed by Nikola Tesla and others, which use smaller amounts of electricity to run bigger generators so that you can put out enough energy even on a cloudy day with these technologies to charge a battery pack to run your home on or to run your vehicle on. So you literally run the less efficient power supply through these generators, and these generators convert them to power that will charge up a battery no matter the conditions that your solar or wind array are in. Your solar panels are still collecting energy even on a cloudy day. The amperage goes down, the voltage stays the same. Now, if you can have a machine between your solar panels and your battery pack, and your charge controller, that can bump up the amperage without sacrificing the voltage, then you have just taken yourself entirely off grid. However, and you've got an energy system that can be totally used on a mobile platform. Not the tower, obviously, but a low-yield solar system can be placed on the roof of a car with this generator inside, run the generator and charge the battery. Also, you can have a low-yield wind tunnel underneath your hood that can generate enough electricity to run this generator that keeps your batteries charged. But the government is not allowing it to come forward. Why? Because certain industries don't want it to come forward. This is the big reason that we have been under the thumb of people who don't have our best interests in mind for ages. And if we truly want to become great again, we need to get back to the values we were founded on, which was self-reliance and exploration. The only way we can do this is by producing most of what we need ourselves. The last 7 years I've been doing this. I'm not going to use this as an infomercial for what I do, but in essence, every single American should be doing things to try and free themselves from a centralized and corrupted system that desires them to be entirely dependent on it, that justifies the control of population due to the lack of resources generated by a centralized system. Thank you very much for watching. This is my thoughts on a few of the issues that were brought up during the State of the Union. I really enjoyed the fact that President Trump was trying to, or said that he was going to try to do this through the bill making and ability to help out to flesh out the architecture of a legitimate bill legislation instead of passing it through executive order. I've enjoyed the fact that he has literally been able to fulfill a great deal of the goals that he set on his campaign. I just hope that we can work together as a nation to do them constitutionally instead of stealing from the worker in order to pay for those who are trying to rise to the level of worker, and that we can transform our working class into business owner class so that we can have an economy, a school system, and a medical system that can and indeed will thrust us into a world of high technology where biology can do the work it's supposed to through divine intervention. If you enjoyed this presentation, please like, subscribe, and share. The word needs to get out. If you've got an idea on how we can constitutionally execute the goals that our president set forth in the State of the Union and the Union Address, please put them down in the comments. I do try to read as much as I possibly can as far as the feedback on these things. Please try to limit profanity because I like to be I like to have decent conversations with people, not conversations based on shocking people out of their opinions. And that seems to be the typical online nowadays. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time I upload.